Okay, hi everyone. I'm here today with Danny Iny from Firepole Marketing. He's one of my absolute favorite small marketing experts for businesses who basically need to know what to do, how to do it, and how to not spend all day long and all their money doing it. So I'm really pleased to welcome him here. I'm sure he's going to have a lot of useful things to say about freelance blogging and how to market yourself as a freelance blogger. So let's just find out, first of all, a little bit about you, Danny.
Sure.
Can you tell me the really short version of how you came to be where you are now? I understand you started your first business at 15.
I did, but if we're starting at 15, it's not the really, really short version. But let me start by saying thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I'm excited to have the opportunity to share some of my experiences with your viewers. So yeah, I quit school when I was 15 to start my first business. Um, it was a long road getting from there to here. I did a whole bunch of different kind of startups in my earlier years. And then around 2005, 2006, my career kind of split in two directions. One is I started a copywriting practice, which eventually kind of evolved into a marketing and business strategy consultancy, which is kind of what I do today in some ways. The other side of it was I started a literacy education technology startup. So we were building software that teaches kids how to read. And this is something I was very passionate about, very excited about. Um, Very exciting. We accomplished some really interesting things, but I was a young and experienced CEO. The education market is a very challenging market. And then when the markets crashed in 2008, it just destroyed the company. And so, that happened. I kind of rebuilt my consulting practice, and through a bunch of leaps and bounds and stumbles, that eventually kind of transitioned into becoming what Firepole Marketing is today. And we teach small business owners, like you said, how to do marketing.
Okay, so really now you're kind of a powerhouse. I mean, you have engagement from scratch that's been out a while. You have the Naked Marketing Manifesto. You have everything on Firepole Marketing, including a lot of different training programs. And now you also have the Naked Marketing book, which you're writing with a bunch of people just like me who you recruited online who were fans of yours who are now going to help you write this book. And it's going to be the go to book about marketing. Is that right?
That's the plan. Fingers crossed, right?
How did you decide to use nakedness as your theme? Was it something that you thought from the very beginning you would use? Did you come to it at the very end, or was it somewhere in the middle?
When you say beginning, end, and middle, what do you like beginning, end, and middle of what?
From the moment you first had the thought of creating the manifesto right through to the moment
Yeah,
that you decided to launch?
actually, the way it worked is I kind of started with the title, which is unusual. I don't usually do that. Um, but there's a book called Getting Naked by Patrick Lencioni. It's a book about how to grow and market a consulting business. Very good book, by the way. All of his books are amazing. And I read it and I gave it to my wife and she read it and we were talking about it and I kind of said, this whole naked thing, it lends itself so well to marketing. And I was like, naked marketing would be a good title for a book. And it just kind of
Yeah.
stuck in my head for a while. And I was thinking, I think I'd really like to write a book, but I don't want to go ahead and write a book that people don't want. So I'll write this manifesto and let's see how people respond. And I was just blown away by the response. And so, yes, I went ahead and I'm writing the book, and it's this amazing collaborative project that I'm very excited about. But in this particular case, the name was the very first thing, and I was like, because it lends itself, it works on so many levels. The
Absolutely, yeah.
truth, the stripped bare, the authenticity. I was like, I've got to do something with this.
Yeah, I loved your analogy between marketing to everybody and just streaking.
That's exactly
I
what
thought
it
that
is.
was fantastic. Yeah, it's just like, here's my ass. And, that's not really going to be the greatest thing you can say to everybody when they see you for the first
No, absolutely not. And full credit where credit's due. That particular analogy,
time.
my assistant Megan came up with it actually.
Good job, Megan.
Yep.
Give the girl a raise.
Well, always increasing everything, right? That's the beauty of working hard to surround yourself with really, really great people, which I'm particularly excited about right now. I just hired two new people, so the team is growing, and it's really exciting to be working with really competent, capable people that, everyone talks about how you've got to get a VA and, outsource and save yourself time. That's not the point. The point is that you want to be able to introduce very competent and, when needed, divergent thinking into your business. That's the real exciting thing that you can do there.
Yeah. So it's not so much that you need a this or a that, it's you need the right people.
Yeah, exactly. I need smart. I mean,
And the
in this
right
kind of
people could maybe
business,
do several different roles.
well, they have to. In this kind of business, the job description is mostly miscellaneous. So if I were to hire someone who had all the exact skill sets to do all the things I need now, their skill set would be obsolete in 6 months, most likely anyway. So I
Yeah.
just need smart people who can learn things and figure things out and kind of grow with the business.
Also,
I recognize it's a bit of a tangent, but it's kind of came up.
it's a tangent, but it's so important to any business. Yeah, and if you're a freelance blogger, I know some freelance bloggers also consider hiring someone to write some of their blogs for them on a ghostwriting basis and things like that. And they also sometimes are hiring an editor because not every blog actually edits posts or
Mhm.
even proofreads posts before publishing. So it's still important for us to know these things.
Yeah, and a commitment to quality is absolutely critical. It's funny because, like at this point, Megan sometimes does do draft writing for me, but I don't recommend that people get ghost content written. I think you've got to get, first of all, very comfortable writing. You've got to write really great stuff. And the only time when you're ready to kind of outsource some of that work is when you know so well what the audience is going to respond to that you've got someone so well trained and so qualified that they understand your style, and you can kind of look at the audience, say, this is what they're going to like, here's the headline, here's the hook, here's the outline, can you flesh this out into a post based on these notes?
Yeah,
And most people, when they want to outsource content, it's like that's not where they are. They're like, I don't have time, I want to buy a dozen blog posts. And
yeah,
it's like that's a
exactly.
disaster.
I see ads like that all the time. Yeah. So, what do you think is probably going to be the most valuable forms of marketing for someone like me who's a freelance blogger?
I don't always make the best interview subject because I can't give blanket answers to questions. But the first question is, well, who do you want to hire you? Right?
Yeah,
You want to be blogging for people. So what does that job description really look like? To whom is it valuable? Of those people, who do you actually want to work with, and why is it valuable to them? Until you have answers
yeah,
to those questions, you can't answer the question of how to go about marketing. And if someone suggests that you could or should, or you should do this or that, it's what my friend Dov Gordon calls them, marketing plumbers. And what he'll say
yeah,
is that, like, you if you go to Joe the plumber, say, Joe, I want you to build me a house. Joe's going to be like, but I'm a plumber. I don't do the plumbing for your house. I'll do great plumbing for your house. Um, but I don't build houses. I just do plumbing. But in the marketing world, there's a lot of people who are kind of like one trick ponies because either that's the only tool they know, and when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, or they were
yeah,
just in the right place at the right time, but it kind of worked out. And I like to say, the solution to everything, it's direct mail. Direct mail is the way to go, or it's AdWords, or pay per click, or blog commenting, or whatever it is. There is no blanket magic formula that will always work for everyone.
yeah.
Um, so the,
And also,
well,
of course, anything that you did say to me that was suitable for me would not necessarily be suitable for any of the other freelance bloggers or even wannabe freelance bloggers who are watching. Yeah,
exactly. But like at its core, I mean, and this is what I teach in Naked Marketing, right? Good marketing, there's three steps. The first is alignment. Figure out who you want to work with, what they need, what you have to offer, what the fit is. Make sure that's all really well aligned. The second stage is attraction. Where do they hang out? How can you get their attention in a way that is going to be meaningful to them, that you're going to stand out without looking stupid, without kind of annoying them, but actually grab their attention in a meaningful way?
yeah,
And third, how do you engage them? How do you create this escalating cycle of commitment and reward so that they learn to like you and trust you and want to work with you?
yeah,
And it's very abstract. I mean, nobody can just say, okay, now I'm going to do attraction now. Like, you have to actually think it through. But if you follow these steps and apply some critical thinking, you get marketing that is actually smart and that actually gets results.
yeah. I think absolutely building up that trust is one of the most important things when you're freelancing because that's how you get the repeat clients.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Do you have any advice that you can give to somebody who is so terrified of marketing that they are probably never going to realize their dream of becoming a freelancer because it involves marketing themselves?
Um, yeah, what I would say to them is you probably don't really understand what marketing is about. Because marketing is not a scary thing. It's not something that you pull out of like an episode of Mad Men, and it's not something that is what you'd expect to see on a used car sales lot. Um, Marketing fundamentally is about the alignment and provision of value, right? You don't want to be persuading people to buy your stuff or creating demand or all that. Like, none of that works. All you want to do is create a good alignment between what other people need and what you have. So that could mean finding the people who actually want and need what you have. It could mean changing what you have to match what people need, but there's got to be a fit. If those puzzle pieces don't fit together, then it doesn't matter how good your quote unquote marketing is, if nobody's going to want to buy it if it's not right for them. So make sure
Yeah.
the alignment is there. Then find a way to grab their attention. This isn't about stunts. It's not about, flashy ad campaigns or any of that necessarily. Depends on what you're looking to do. It depends on who you want to reach. It could be leaving comments on a blog. It could be reaching out to them through the mail. It could be meeting them at a networking event. It could be any number of things. It's about what is the way to reach the person you actually want to reach. And finally, it's about how can you build a relationship with them. Sales is one of those things parallel to marketing that scares people and that kind of people just try to avoid, because I think it's about kind of trying to persuade someone or manipulate someone into getting your stuff. And that's not what it's about. Sales, a good sales conversation is about an earnest exploration of fit. It's let's you and me figure out together whether what I have can solve your problem in a way that's good for you. And if not, then there's absolutely no reason in the world you should spend your money on what I've got. And if so, do what you want. Don't buy it if you don't want. But if you have a problem and I can solve it, and the problem's hurting you, and the solution is worth, it costs less than the result is going to be worth to you, then it makes sense for you to get it. It's just about that earnest exploration of fit. So I'd say to people who are afraid of marketing that you like relax about marketing, forget about a lot of the things you've probably heard about it. It's just about letting the right people know what you have and the real truth about why they might want it. And I do webinars quite a lot, and my partners always ask me, do you have a bio, do you have a script you want me to follow when introducing you, to build trust or engagement or rapport or whatever. I always tell them, no, just tell your people the honest truth about how we connected and why you think they should listen to me. And that's all it needs to be.
Awesome. So basically, if somebody's that afraid of marketing, the reason is simply that they don't realize how to market themselves in a way that's comfortable with them.
Yeah, they probably just don't realize what
Yeah.
marketing really is, and they're trying to. It's like wearing a suit that doesn't fit you. It feels uncomfortable. It feels weird. You're putting on somebody else's clothes.
Is there a question that you wish people would ask you more often about marketing?
Um, I wish people would ask themselves more questions about marketing.
Great answer.
I was talking to someone about this just an hour ago, actually. I get an awful lot of questions by email. A lot from my students, some from people who aren't my students, whether they've read my book or found me online, and I'm very happy to answer all of their questions. And sometimes I'll get really well thought out. This is my situation. This is what I've considered. These are my options. I'm not sure what to do. What do you think? Like such questions that are based out of a lack of knowledge or expertise. They kind of have their situation. They know what it is. They don't have the experience or the insight to know which way to go. And I'll give them a detailed answer. But usually the questions are just about not having thought through things themselves. And I'm happy to answer them, but I can't because I just don't have the information I need to answer it. So I'll invariably just turn around and be like, well, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? And what are you hoping this will do for you? Whatever it is that they're proposing and asking me if they should do it. And more often than not, they will they'll answer and I'll be like, well, that answers your question. They'll say, well, maybe they're saying, should I be approaching this or that type of blog to write for, or should I be doing this or that marketing campaign? I'll always say, well, what are your goals? I'll say my goals are A, B, and C. And I'll send them another question. I'll say, well, explain to me how this action you've described will lead to achieving your goals. And they'll reply, either they're like, well, this is how, and I guess it makes sense. And I'll say, I don't think it really does. Maybe I shouldn't do it. I'll say, yeah, I guess that makes sense. but just kind of do that own thinking yourself. Like, people don't give themselves enough credit for being able to figure things out.
Yeah. So really asking yourself questions is far more important than constantly wandering around asking the world questions and hoping to get the right answer dropping into your lap.
Well, here's the thing. Answers are easy. Asking the right questions is hard. And there are people that you go to and they will push back and tell you you're asking the wrong question. But most people won't. In most cases, you'll spend lots of money getting answers to questions that don't really matter.
Yeah.
And I'm not in the answer business primarily. I mean, I give answers and I teach people how to do things, but I'm not a consultant. People don't pay me for answers. I'm a teacher. So I teach them how to do things, but most importantly, I try to teach people how to ask the right questions.
Okay, and then after asking the right questions, I guess the next skill you really have to have is the ability to take action.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know for a while I sat around asking myself a lot of questions and I did nothing about any of it, and I got surprisingly nowhere.
Shocking.
It's amazing, isn't it? And it took me time to figure that out. And then I kind of had to facepalm myself and just go, what was I thinking? Let's go.
Taking action is one of those things that, yes, it's absolutely required. And it's hard to find the time and the energy and, well, tough. Like, if you want results, you have to do it.
Yeah,
But doing it doesn't mean you're going to get results. Getting something right the very first time is not normal. It's not an outcome of expertise or brilliance. It's an outcome of beginner's luck. And it doesn't mean you'll get right the next time. So, like, getting things wrong is to be expected, and you've got to keep asking yourselves those questions. The results I'm getting, why are they this way? Is what I'm doing leading to those results? What should I keep doing? What should I stop doing? What should I change? Recognize that business planning and all the things you're doing, it's basically the execution of your business plan. Whether you have it written down on paper, it's just a vague hunch in your head. Either way, business planning is an iterative process. It's
yeah.
something that you keep moving closer and closer towards, kind of like a spiral, closing in on what is the exact right thing to do. So if you haven't got it quite right, that just means you're normal, and you should keep on trying, just keep on improving.
Tell me a little bit more about how the Naked Marketing book writing process is going to work. Because you've recruited now this gang of die-hard fans who absolutely love everything you've been doing, who are really keen to help write this great book. How are you going to work with them all?
Sure, and it's already underway, and it's been phenomenal. Um, But so the backstory, of course, is that I released this manifesto. It was very well received. It was downloaded and shared thousands of times. Lots of community created content came up in response to it, like really big engagement. And a lot of people wanted more information. So I said, "Do you want me to write the book?" People said yes. And I said, "Okay, well, I'll do it, but I'm not going to write the book the way that most books, especially marketing books, are written, because there are tons of marketing books already. I don't just want to write another marketing book to put on the shelf." The way
Ah,
that most books are written is the author has hopefully a good idea. They have an idea. It's hopefully a good idea. It's hopefully validated by market demand and so forth. Then they go lock themselves away in like a cabin in the woods or some secluded place, and they write the book for 6 months. And then they come back, and what they bring to the table then is a book that is their best guess at their best understanding of what the audience wanted like 6 months ago. And there's often quite a disconnect. And so I said, I'm only going to do this with the people who want the book. So I set up a little Indiegogo project, which is like Kickstarter, just because Kickstarter won't fund Canadian projects. Set up this Indiegogo project. People put in some money to fund the project. It was funded like double what I asked for in a 4-day weekend, which was nice. And in hindsight, I shouldn't have done this over a holiday weekend, but whatever. 2020. Um, and so everyone who funded the project got access to this private blog. And I'm writing the book and posting the content, the sections, the chapters as I write them. And they're leaving me feedback. They can leave a comment, and the average comment is like half a page long. Like, people are leaving massive amounts of feedback. And based on that, I can change, I can adapt, I can expand, I can give examples, I can make sure that it is the book they actually want. And a perfect example of this, I posted the introduction, the first section of the book, maybe a month ago. I got lots, and it was pretty good, but it was not amazing. It was just pretty good. I'm proud of it, but it was a draft. I got tons and tons of really great feedback. I took that feedback, reworked it, and I submitted that reworked introduction as a post to Forbes, and it became the #2 trending article on the site. It was viewed like 20,000 times in a week and a half. I could not have written a post that was that good if I just sat down and tried to write. Occasionally, and I've had some home runs that I've done myself. But I've written a lot of content. It's all good. I'm a good writer, and my process works. But I'm not going to hit like nothing but strikes because I'm normal. I have a fairly normal skill set. But working
Yeah.
with the best input of all these people, I can produce something truly amazing much more consistently. And that's what I'm just really excited about the way this book is coming together because it's going to be amazing.
Do you think that this is going to be a trend that you're going to develop further? So you'll be crowdfunding and kind of crowdsourcing in collaboration with more and more people for future work?
I only started this one like a month ago, so it's let's.
I know it's very hard to say, but
Um,
what do you think? Is that something that is going to become more important to more and more publishers in future, do you think?
that's an interesting question. So when you say publishers, it depends who you mean. I think traditional publishing is a model that is fundamentally deeply, deeply broken
Uh-huh.
and in incredible need of some intense creative destruction. Like there are exceptions, and kind of the top shelf authors like Seth Godin and Malcolm Gladwell and people like that, they'll get like $1 million plus advance on their books. For them, it makes sense. But for everyone else, it doesn't because the advances are very meager. The publisher will take a significant portion of royalties. Like basically to break even, the publisher has to be able to sell 3 times as many books as the author could on his own, just for the author to make the same amount of money. And the author is expected to do most of the marketing, most of the promotion.
Yeah.
So if you're in a position to do that, why would you I don't know. Plus they introduce tons of bureaucracy. They introduce like engagement from scratch went from idea to done in 6 months. If I had gone with a traditional publisher, I would have still been just shuttling proposals back and forth. So I don't see a business case at all. And part of that is this, these really long cycles. You sign a contract in 2011, the book is published at the end of 2013. It's like,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense in the modern world. So yes, I think a lot more people are going to explore do-it-yourself routes. They're going to explore really interesting models in publishing, whether it is collaborative development, whether it is, Sean Platt did some really interesting stuff with serialized fiction. There's a lot of really interesting stuff happening. And I think we're too early in that cycle of innovation in the publishing industry. I just know it's going to change a lot. And I think this is one of the directions in which it may go.
Yeah. Certainly, I think that's going to be quite important to freelance bloggers in the future because a lot of them I know secretly have a hope of being a book author.
Mm-hmm.
It's still, despite the fact that, as you say, the model is so broken now for traditional publishing, it's still kind of the secret hope in the hearts of so many writers. And I speak to people all the time that are blogging because they didn't think they could publish their own book.
Yeah, writing and publishing a book, they're great things to do. I just don't think a big publishing house should be the gatekeeper because they introduce a ton of hassle and they bring nothing to the table, basically.
Yeah, and you still have to do all that marketing work yourself.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for having me speak to you today, Danny. It's been absolutely amazing. Do you want to just give me a quick run through of the web addresses where people can download the Naked Marketing Manifesto and Engagement from Scratch?
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, thank you very much for having me. It's been a lot of fun, and I've enjoyed the conversation. I hope this has been valuable to the people watching this. What I will say to the people watching this, if they want to learn more, definitely go to nakedmarketing.com. You can download the manifesto from there. You don't need to opt in with a name or email address. You just either share or tweet to get it. And if for some reason you don't have a Twitter or Facebook account, or you have deep moral issues, I'll get an email once a month from someone who's like, I refuse to, I don't know. I don't get it, but like if you really don't want to share a tweet, just email me and I'll send you a copy. The other thing that you can do is go to engagementfromscratch.com. Engagement from Scratch is the book I published at the end of November. It has since been downloaded over 12,000 times. It has been, it's actually been one of the top 20 selling marketing books on Kindle since it was launched. And it's got over 85 star reviews. It was very well received. You can buy it on Amazon, you can get it on Kindle, but you can also just go to engagementfromscratch.com and download the whole thing. no strings, nothing missing, and I'm very happy for you to have it. And once you do that, and on any of my sites, like, you'll have my email address. If you have any questions or comments or anything I can help you with, just shoot them over. Um, Sophie will tell you I'm responsive. I answer my emails. I'm not like hiding behind a help desk or anything like that. And I'm very eager and happy to hear from um, anyone who's watching this and anyone who might be interested in anything I'm doing. I'm just happy to connect.
Awesome. And also, don't forget to just visit firepolemarketing.com, because you will absolutely not get steered wrong by any of the advice I've found on there. So just make sure that you know exactly what you're doing as a freelancer. Make sure you know how to market yourself. Make sure that you take action on some of the things that you read there. Please, please take action. Okay, thanks, Danny. That's been absolutely fantastic speaking to you. And I hope we can do this again sometime.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.